Hi, it's your girl host, Ezene, and I'm feeling okay. Of course, you're listening to the Self Apology podcast, but it's quite an irony that I feel okay as opposed to the topic we're going to be talking about today, and it's on suicidal thoughts. So, as always, I always have to read from a page from my book. And today's topic is in relation to page 21 of my book from the section Your Body. And it goes, if I bled to death, Oluchi will be scarred and cry. Junior will be mad and sad. Dad will be shocked and broken. Mommy will be strong as always, nursing yet another. Death is never a relief to self or to soul. If the heart doesn't flow from your chest, it can't flow from your wrist. Blood never stops the sting of the mind. Wouldn't you dig deeper into the bones? Okay, so this was a time in my life where I was seriously contemplating suicide, and I would say I would really thank God for probably like having a conscience, or I wouldn't say, okay, maybe I shouldn't say conscience because that might actually indirectly mean like I'm trying to insinuate that people who have actually committed suicide do not have a conscience, but that was me thinking about the effect of what my mental health was going to do to the mental health of my siblings, especially, and my dad and my mom, and like every single person that was close to me. And when it came to me saying blood doesn't stop the stings of the mind, because at every time I try to cut myself, every time I try to numb the darkness I was feeling inside, I thought, because I read a lot, so I thought maybe if I'm able to distract my mind from, if I was able to distract my mind from, or rather, like send a different message to my brain that okay, there's somewhere else on my body that's hurting, maybe I wouldn't feel the way I was feeling inside. I probably feel like everybody who has considered suicide, or those who actually committed suicide, were actually trying to escape from that unphysical pain. Yes, that's what I'm going to call it. So yes, so today we're going to talk about suicidal thoughts, and in as much as we're talking about suicidal thoughts, which is almost in relation to what I actually have on my blog. I run a blog, The Drunken Writer, and I'm talking about, and this week, I'm talking about post-failed suicide, and that is life after death. What happens after everything? So I was wondering, like, when we say suicidal thoughts, like, like, do they ever stop? What leads to the suicidal thoughts? What makes us think the suicidal thoughts? And there is a truthfulness and there's a revelation in this podcast. And the truth is, I don't think it ever goes away. I think it lingers, but it never goes away, because it's a really big deal for you to want to take your life. It's a scary shit. Honestly speaking, I have tried to run into the sea, and in doing that, I broke down and I cried. Then I was in my friend's house at Atlantic View, and sometimes I'll take some work to the beach, which was behind her house, and I thought about just running and getting enveloped by the water. I knew I couldn't swim. I've watched the life of Pi, so I like, and sometimes I get really morbid. Like entertaining myself with morbid information online, watching how plane crashes, watching ships on North America Sea, so I could actually understand the struggle I was going to go through. It's very pictorial, like when you want to delve into something like that is a big deal. So the moment you're able to overcome that fear, it's gone. I mean, like, I attempted suicide. I OD'd on my antidepressants and I slept for 2 days. That means I've been dead for 2 days and I woke up. I could still go back there. Some days I want to go back. And in as much as, and there's another truth again I feel I should say, and that is like, in as much as I feel that I'm better, because right now I feel this obligation to consciously stay under the right light, because I really appreciate everybody that's been reaching me out since the inception of self-apology. It might be small, I might have not blown, but it just feels good for people to see me worthy enough to come up to me and tell me, oh yeah, please, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, I'm going through everything. But then, like, I don't think anybody's talking like, oh, if you find someone who wants to commit suicide, there's are hotlines and everything. But it's suicidal thoughts, like, nobody's going to come into your head to stop it. So how do we manage this? How do we stop it? I don't know. This is a question I'm asking. This is a question I've tried to answer. But in my little way that I've tried to answer it, this is something that I would say it's tricky. So for me, I feel our existence in life, the fact that there are two sides of the coin, yeah. Because in life there's good and bad, there's evil and good. There's the head, there's the tail, there's man, there's woman. I feel like these basic things actually, validate the fact that there's a duality in existence. So that means like there would always be like a paradox, like a contradiction of some sort. So and I think about it, like, when everybody says like, oh, after death, like, what if after death there's no peace? What if after death there's no rest? What if after death there's no fulfillment? What if after death there's no peace? What if death is just a restart of life? You get me? Because I've read like an Indian spiritual text that talks about life being a loop. So depending on how you live in life, sometimes you might come back like an animal, sometimes you might come back as a being, and depending on how good you lived life before you ascend into heaven, there's so many interpretations of our existence. There's so many interpretations of how life works. But then, like, how are we sure that death is the escape? That's another thing. That's like a very important thing I always ask myself. And sometimes it feels like, yes, I always have to remember myself, because I know not every day is bad. Not every day is a bad day. Sometimes I have my good days, although maybe my bad days might outnumber my good days. But some days are good. And sometimes I try to pay very, very close attention to the things that might be actually robbing me of my peace of mind. Yeah, on the lower level, depending on the middle class and the lower class, it might be money, it might be finances, it might be health, it might be sickness. But then, like, these suicidal things are not just limited to lack of resources, lack of funds, and all this stuff. Because there are people who have it, but then there's no satisfaction. And then when you say, okay, those people, like, there's no peace of mind, there's no love. And sometimes you just can't explain. But you're just sad. It's just there. And I'm also going to know, like, sadness is a cool feeling. I'm not going to lie, because one thing I realized, I wouldn't want to say I'm a sadist, but I just realized that I might actually truly enjoy being sad. There's a peace, there's a calm that comes with sadness. But the down part of it is that it can be very overwhelming. That's the down part. So what I'm going to say now is that I don't think there's an answer now. If there's anybody that has an answer, if you're listening to me, because this is a question I'm asking myself too. A couple of weeks ago, I felt those familiar feelings. Yeah. I considered, it crossed my mind, suicide. Yeah, like I'm really tired because I felt, because right now it's almost like a different battle. At first, the depression was, oh, this, oh, that. Oh, I wasn't satisfied with myself. I had self-esteem issues. My parents weren't supporting me. I didn't have love. I probably didn't have money on some days, like some very material things that could be solved. But now I'm way past that. I'm now aware. But still, I still find myself falling back into those depressive modes. And then I still question myself, how? What is the right way forward? How do these thoughts like go away? If you ever considered suicide before, would it ever stop? Can you never reconsider it? How do you never reconsider it? It's just an open question. Yeah. Anybody who's listening, anyone who has like a question, anyone who has like an answer. I don't know. I feel like maybe there's like a general question everyone is asking. So for everyone who listened, thank you. And please, thank you so much. My numbers have been increasing, like I always say. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for helping me on this, my journey of healing. Thank you for healing with me too. Thank you. Bye.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.